So hey everyone, it's Trevor Turnbull here with Sports Networker, and I'm joined on the line today by Bryan Srabian from the San Francisco Giants. How's it going, Bryan?
Trevor, I'm doing great. It's baseball season. Couldn't be happier.
You gotta love it, eh? You guys are starting tonight, I understand?
Yeah, we are. The team is actually in Arizona. It's a 4 o'clock game here on the West Coast, and I'm focused. We've got people on the scene. I don't travel with the team often. Every once in a while I do. So I've got like 4 screens up. We're live on many different networks. We're drumming up some excitement. So it's an exciting time. And our home opener is next Friday in San Francisco.
Nice, nice. So I guess you're kind of speaking to the luxuries and the downfalls of your job, right? You are connected all the time as the director of social media for the team. And, you know, you're able to essentially do what you do remotely. And in this case today, from your house, right?
Yeah. The home office today is connected with a pretty fast broadband connection. And I've got several devices up and running. You don't sleep a lot. Before the game, there's a lot of excitement. You're usually engaging with fans during the game, obviously, and then after the game. So you're right. It is somewhat of a double-edged sword, I guess. But I think that's why it's so important that, you know, if you really enjoy doing this, it doesn't really seem like a job, and it just is part of, you know, what you enjoy doing, and you don't mind watching baseball and engaging. And we've got a number of other promotional things that are happening during the game, and we're kind of building up towards our home opener. So, but yeah, the technology advancements, obviously not just in, you know, mobile, but just in terms of networks, have given fans more access and the ability to do more than they ever have before, and that gives us this really unique opportunity to engage with fans.
Yeah, no kidding. And like I mentioned to you before we hopped on this call, I did my research and looked into yourself and the Giants and all the stuff that you guys are doing, and I'm really looking forward to chatting with you about this, because I can honestly say from what I found that the Giants are kind of known as one of the most proactive teams as it relates to integrating new technologies and using them to reach out to the fans, and you're being recognized for that, and that's definitely a testament to all the work that you've done. So let's start out, first of all, though, by backing it up a few years. I want to let people know a bit about who you are and kind of how you came into this current role that you're at. So can you give us a bit of your background of how you became the director of social media for San Francisco Giants?
Yeah, you know, and to me it's kind of a relevant story, because everyone asks me, how did you become the director of social media for the Giants? And I say it started back in 1995, actually, when I became an intern for the Giants in the media relations department. I went to Santa Clara University. I know you're up in Vancouver. This is the home of Steve Nash. We got that connection going for us.
Yeah.
I actually did radio play-by-play back in the day. I had about 20 listeners. And it was a lot of fun. But the opportunity came up, and Santa Clara is about 45 minutes south of San Francisco, of Candlestick Park, and had this great opportunity to be in the media relations department, and I thought it was just kind of a one-time thing. It'd be fun to do and perhaps move on to something else, and that turned into a entry-level position with the Giants in '96 in the corporate sponsorship department. Long story short, I ended up spending, 13 seasons there. Everything from the promotions team, worked in the entertainment department, and I was the director of entertainment and marketing for the Giants through 2008. So I had a variety of different roles with the team. I was just one of those people that, you know, I guess if you work in the sports industry, you can jump from team to team, from location to location. I just love San Francisco. I love the Giants, and I kept creating new opportunities for myself, and the Giants are great about letting me kind of grow into different roles. And in 2008, you know, I was married. We had 1 child. We had another one on the way, and decided to kind of move and be closer to family. Left the Giants, and then, you know, in 2010, things kind of, you know, changed again. I was looking for a new opportunity, and the Giants were looking to have someone run the social media, and it was almost, you know, serendipitous on my part, because I felt like I had been training to be a social media director or whatever you want to call it. That time there wasn't even a title. I didn't really have a title for the first year. So, and the Giants kind of trusted me to kind of figure out what this role would be. And so year one, it was kind of doing a lot of work with the Giants internally to figure out what our strategy was going to be. Worked very close with Major League Baseball advanced media because we have a unique relationship in baseball and how they basically kind of work together with us on all of our digital assets, the website, the app. And at the time, it was Facebook and Twitter only. So I worked a lot to kind of bridge that gap to figure out, okay, what's our strategy, and focus on that. And then, and here we are now, season 3, as a director of social media. And as I said, it was just Facebook and Twitter. Now, we're up and running on Tumblr. We have a Pinterest account. We're on Google+. Yeah. The app now integrates Foursquare. There's a lot going on in our world, and obviously more and more of the Giants' inner departments are using social media for their own, establishing their own goals, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to diving into all that because you said a whole bunch of keywords there where I got questions I want to throw at you.
Yeah.
But before we get there, though, I also wanted to bring up, I was watching a presentation that you actually delivered. I believe it was in New York or Boston with HubSpot, and you were speaking to your own personal story about how social media kind of has impacted you and that wow moment of, connecting with somebody via Twitter. And I'll let you mention who the person was, but I know I have a similar story. I just want to let you tell that to everybody that's watching here.
All right, so this was 2010, and I was just, like I said, my first goal was to, lay out the strategy for the Giants. How are we going to use Twitter? How are we going to use Facebook? We had a lot of different departments that were doing different things, and we decided that we were just going to have one voice. There was going to be the Giants Twitter account and the Giants Facebook account, and just kind of collapse everything. And I really wanted to figure out, and our media relations team was running the official Twitter account, and they did a great job. They would post lineups, they would post updates on the team, transactions, and obviously scoring updates. And I wanted that to continue because obviously, first and foremost, that's what's important. But Twitter provided a unique opportunity, and I was noticing that some other brands outside of sports and people were using Twitter in unique ways, and I was reading a lot of books, and one book I was reading at the time, and it's around here somewhere, is Trust Agents by Chris Brogan and Julian Smith. So I was just really geeking out on all this social media stuff. And so it's like, I don't know, it's late one night. It's pretty late, and I'm on Twitter, and I follow Chris Brogan. And I tweeted to him as I'm reading his book saying, hey, I really am enjoying your book, and something to that effect. And he tweeted me right back at that point. And I literally jumped out of my chair. I'm like, okay, this guy, to me, he was up on that, pedestal of, social media, experts. There's a lot of people who call themselves experts, but, he, in my opinion, was. And so we basically had a Twitter conversation. And that just really struck me right there as, boy, we really need to engage with our fans. And that became kind of my aha moment for the Giants, and said, we're going to establish our voice. We're going to engage. We're going to answer all the @replies we can. We're going to recognize fans who talk about us, much like putting them on the scoreboard at the game. And this is kind of what I was alluding to earlier. I was... my job was, entertaining fans in the ballpark, and, everything from kiss cam to dance cams to all these fun events that we were doing, on the scoreboard between innings. And that's the kind of same experience I wanted to have, with our social media. So Twitter, and that really helped us grow we started, when I took over, we had 3,000 fans on Twitter. We were in the Bay Area.
2010, you said?
January 2010. I think we had 3,300 fans on Twitter.
Yeah.
Which was great. It's a good start. But, the 49ers and the Raiders were kind of kings of the Bay Area, and they had 30,000 at the time. Obviously, everyone's grown since then, but we really started to grow that season. And obviously, as the team, went on to the playoffs that year and won the World Series, and things really grew. But I felt that we really set that kind of foundation, and that was really a big turning point for me in terms of understanding the power of Twitter. Now, not every team does it that way, and I'm not saying that's the only way to do it. But with our fans, we have a pretty unique relationship with them, and we're pretty proud of the way that we, especially with Twitter. We just, I'm a huge fan of Twitter. Our fans are really passionate and talk a lot on Twitter. So that was one unique story that happened to me. I'll share one a little bit later that happened earlier this year. But yeah, it definitely, I think that's how I get inspired, is not just looking at what other sports teams are doing, but what other brands are doing, what other people are doing.
Yeah.
We do Twitter chats, and I get that because, there's some cool people that do Twitter chats on, sports, hashtag SB chat, and there's some, unique Twitter chats, and we did one with Giants fans. In fact, as we speak right now, our radio announcer, Dave Fleming, is doing his own Twitter chat, and I kind of helped him set that up, but he's doing it on his own. I didn't want the Giants brand to get, in there yet, because I didn't want to flood him with a bunch of fans yet. But, just looking at what people are doing, and it's such a great marketing tool, but it's an even better communication tool.
Yeah. Well, I think you're speaking to the testament that the same rules apply. It doesn't matter if it's a brand or an individual or a bigger-than-life celebrity that you look up to and think that there's no way I'm ever going to be able to chat with this person, right? It's your wow moment, I think, has definitely helped the team, because you saw the impact as yourself, how it felt to hear back from Chris Brogan, right? So imagine what these fans that have been following the team for years and years must feel like when they hear back from somebody that works for the team, or a player even. It must be just thrilling for them. So it's a model to be duplicated for sure. And I'm looking at a graph here right now. I actually found some stats from the preseason that's talking about the top 10 socially engaged teams on Facebook. So talking about Facebook real quick here. And you guys are ranking at the top of the list, and there's a whole bunch of metrics here that's based on the number of fans, trending, how many people are talking about you. But again, that's another testament. You guys are currently at, 1.3 million Facebook fans roughly, and the four teams that have, three teams I guess that have more are the Chicago Cubs, Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees, obviously all massive brands in themselves too. So, congratulations to you on that. It's a great way to start the season, right?
Yeah, and I mean, everything kind of has to be put in perspective. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and, say like everything we're doing is based on, great strategy and unique things, because we have this great advantage of being in San Francisco. It's not New York, it's not Boston, it's not LA, but it's still a pretty big market.
For sure.
And we did win a World Series, and we have a great cast of, talented and unique characters on our team. So I think all that combines to add to that success. However,
so you're not taking all the credit, is what you're trying to say.
I'm trying, yeah, and I'll be the first one to tell you that. And that's the other thing that always bothers me, is because a lot of these studies come out and they just look at the followers, and and if you're lucky enough to be on a suggested user list early on, you're going to get a high follower, and or if you're the New York Yankees, you're going to get high followers because you're the Yankees in New York, and that's great. You shouldn't apologize for that. But it's not fair to teams in smaller markets, because there's some teams in Major League Baseball that are doing some great things. They just don't have the bandwidth or the exposure because they just are in a smaller market. So I think you've got to really dive in deep to look at those stats. But Facebook continually changes. We all know that. The thing that I'm really focused on right now is this talking about feature, which if you look at our stats, and I'm like obsessed with this right now, we are the most talked about team in Major League Baseball as of right now. I think it's like the metric is like 115,000, whatever it is, and that's more than the Yankees, who have 5 million. So I'm not saying that to I'm just saying that to me means, okay, in terms of a comparison, are we doing something right, engaging with fans on Facebook? And And, I look at, there's some NFL teams like the New York Giants are just killing it. Obviously, they won the world championship with the Super Bowl, and they're, really hot right now, and the NFL is a big brand. But I also look at the European soccer leagues and, Manchester United, some of those teams that have just this ridiculous engagement rate with their fans. So, we're constantly trying to, and I think the biggest part of that is understanding your Facebook fans. Like, you can't look at Facebook the same way you look at Twitter. You have to understand who those fans are, age, demographics, what do they like, when to post. So we're constantly, fine-tuning that, and I think, we've been building off of the excitement of the start of the season, and really focusing on building those engagement. And I look at the numbers. I think that's been the biggest growth for me, is understanding the analytics and trying to translate that into our strategy.
Yeah, trying to make sense of it at all, right?
Right.
See where the value is from a traditional sense of actually driving revenue, which is another topic that we'll hopefully get to here in a little bit. But speaking of all this strategy and stuff too, like you mentioned earlier that you guys have launched a Tumblr account and a Pinterest account, and I saw that Major League Baseball has actually placed people in every Major League Baseball city to be able to follow and spread the word about the team. How do those decisions get made? Because I know Major League Baseball is a little bit different with the advanced media group as opposed to the NHL, where they get some direction from the NHL headquarters, but they're really kind of on their own to implement their own strategies and experiment with things. How does it work for you guys? Do you guys get the direction and then you implement, or do you come up with these creative ideas and pitch them to Major League Baseball?
It's kind of both. I think that they, we, like I said, we consider ourselves partners with Major League Baseball Advanced Media. I'm on the phone and emailing them constantly throughout the week, working on new ideas. But yeah, Pinterest and Tumblr were just launched recently, like in March. Google Plus was launched earlier this year. And, and their strategy is to have all 30 teams, on the same platforms at the same time. Right. And it's got to make sense for everybody. So I think, whereas someone like me just wants to be on everything, and that's just my nature, I think it's good because, they work together and say, well, we have to figure out a strategy first, so which makes a lot of sense. So we'll figure out what our strategy is with them, and together we'll launch it, and then we work on the execution. But they really lean on us, the teams, to have creative ways to use those different platforms to connect with our own fan base. And then they'll come back to us and say, "Hey, check out what the Mariners are doing. I think you might like this," or something that we did. They want the Boston Red Sox to try. Right. So I think it's within that kind of context that we work together, and at the end of the day, we all have the same goals, and they really have done a great job, I think, of understanding the social space and allowing the Major League Baseball teams to utilize them. And now I'm kind of like, be careful what you wish for. It was, now in my day, I thought I was busy before, and now it's really busy.
No kidding.
But it's great. I love the challenge. I love the opportunity. And again, I think each of these different platforms offers, new opportunities for us. So I think, MLB.com has, they continue to kind of advance and with new innovations, and I'm just excited about the future and this season in particular. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, no, it's great to hear that the teams actually share ideas and best practice. It's obviously not hard to see what other teams are doing if you're keeping an eye on it. But if you kind of have a central point saying, the Marlins have tried this and they've found success, and this is the strategy that they used, that the competition is, of course, on the field to win, but ultimately every team wants to be successful financially too, and in building the community around the team, everything to do with that. So it's great that they actually share these ideas with the common goal in mind of the fans benefiting, and also keeping the team financially stable as well. Now you also talked about you started to talk a little bit about demographics too, and Pinterest is obviously a hot button topic right now. Everybody's talking about Pinterest. Tumblr's been around for a while, but I guess there definitely is some teams that are starting to proactively use it. And I know we chatted earlier, but I talked with Sean Parker from the Washington Capitals, and they actually have somebody dedicated to their Tumblr account. It's a person that's in their media relations team that's on the road with the team. They're providing behind-the-scenes look at players delivering cupcakes to the media personalities, and that kind of behind-the-scenes look that you don't see anywhere else. What's your guys' take? And I know. I'll let you speak to all these niche markets, because I watched another interview where you talked about having a Filipino night and a Chinese night and an Irish night and a Hispanic night at the park and stuff. What's your approach to social media as it relates to tapping into all these different demographics?
It's probably the one question that's keeping me up at night is understanding. You just can't post the same thing on your Facebook, on your Twitter, on your Tumblr. And I think that's where we're trying to figure out, okay, what fans of ours are on Google Plus right now, and what's the best way to use that? And and to me, and again, it's always moving and it's always changing. And to get back to the earlier statement, yeah, I mean, I have contacts at other teams, and that to me, it's one of the coolest things about working in sports is, obviously we want our teams to win and we're competitive by nature. But yeah, I mean, I can pick up the phone and talk to a number of my colleagues at any team. Even if I don't know them per se, that quick introduction, it's like, before you know it, we're best friends in terms of like, yeah, we love to share this with you. Come to our ballpark anytime. So and something that might work for one team doesn't necessarily work for another. But we're always kind of sharing those, being honest with each other about what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
In terms of that, yeah, I mean, to give you an example, we have an in-house production team, SFG Productions, and they make fantastic videos. They make original 30-minute TV shows that show up on our rights holders. They do short webcasts. We do live streams. Do a number of different things, but they also have, they're also taking tons of still photos and they're sending me a lot of photos. Our photographer sends me a lot of photos. I'm taking photos. So we'll have all this content, and it's up to me to decide how and where to present it. Yeah. So, I look at Tumblr and, it seems like a pretty young, hip group to be on, so I want that to have a specific look and feel to it. Not so much behind the scenes, but more of like an artistic kind of flavor, like something kind of, as the kids say, some swag. Let me tell you something. I'm feeling really old at times. I saw you guys release the 30 under 30, and I'm like, man, I got to get out of this game. I'm just getting old. But then
I feel your pain, Brian. I had the exact same thought when I saw that one.
So, but then hanging out on all these networks, then I kind of pick up some slang and I look at it and I'm like, okay, but it's a lot of talking that, that's the other cool thing is there's fans that not only do we have formal surveys, but it's just conversations, and I'm picking their brains, and they're offering up, their ideas of what they think it should be. Mm-hmm. So I think it's constant having that communication, engagement, and understanding those different networks. Pinterest is a whole new game, and I've spent more time kind of studying it than actually pinning. But let's be honest, the stats right now are 80% female. Okay. And so I've dubbed my wife as my Pinterest consultant, and I'm like, what do you think? And I'm getting
what better expert, right?
What's that?
What better expert, right? Somebody
absolutely
who fits the demographic.
I mean, she's the CEO of the house anyway, so
there you go.
So but it's understanding. It's talking to a lot of fans, and I think that's one thing I haven't really I haven't accomplished what exactly we're going to do. I have an idea, and I think as the season goes on, we'll continue to grow in that area. But it's going to be a little different, and obviously, what fans repin will kind of dictate that. But
yeah,
it's first understanding who that audience is. It's understanding what they're looking for and how to engage, and then looking at those analytics. And that's why it's so important to measure everything in terms of your social media. And you can, and so that part of the analytics and reporting takes a lot of time, but it's the most important part of any kind of social media strategy.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why you see that teams are finding success in whatever form that might be on Facebook and Twitter. You spoke to it. It's been around for a while, right? You have some feedback. You have some analytics to analyze. Pinterest, all these newer tools, it's just got to take some time. You need to let people tell you what they actually want to see on there, right? You can come up with the best strategy in the world and launch it, and nobody will care.
Yeah, you know, and to me the most important thing is you have someone dedicated to it, you know, and it's you know, it sounds simple, but you know, a lot of teams you know, are still in the figuring out stage of, okay, well, who's going to run this? Is it a marketing? Is it communications? And once you realize, once you have someone focused on, you know, your social networks, I mean, I feel, you know, thankful that, you know, I'm able to do this, you know, and spend all my time focused just on social media, where other teams have, you know, they're splitting duties amongst things, and it takes a lot of time to understand and to get. So there really are no shortcuts, and so that's really, I think, the biggest challenge for us is to, you know, figure all this out. And it just moves and changes so quickly that, you know, especially Facebook. I mean, you know, it's like once you figure it all out, then it's like, okay, now we're in timeline. All right. So let's figure that out now. But that's kind of, I like that too. I mean, I think that keeps you, you know, always, you know, looking for new ways to improve and not get complacent with your strategy, and always looking for ways that you can continue to connect with your fans and get smarter. So it's also a challenge, and I think for someone like me and all of us are in this space, and I think we thrive off of that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it really gives you opportunities to be creative and not, you know, just kind of go through the motions of, oh, this is Facebook. You know, they make a massive change like they did, and now all of a sudden you can do something unique that will make you stand out above the crowd and become that best practice example.